JimboJohnGalt.com. Fox News Sunday, March 24th, 2019. We got Jerry Nadler on with Chris Wallace. Chris Wallace asks him the question, do you think the Mueller report should be pre-reviewed by the White House so that they can check for any executive privilege concerns so that they can get some stuff redacted? And here's what Nadler says.
I certainly hope that does not happen, and I certainly do have a problem with that. This is an investigation of the White House and of the president and the people around him for alleged misconduct in various different ways and for subverting the Constitution in various different ways. As we know from the Nixon tapes case, which the Supreme Court decided 9-0, executive privilege cannot be used to shield wrongdoing, and certainly they should not get an advanced look at the report. The report should go public in its entirety and see where the chips fall.
He doesn't answer the question that Chris Wallace asked. He was asked whether or not the White House should be giving an early release of the report so that they can scan it for any executive privilege. This Jerry Nadler goes on, and partisan of all partisan Democrats who has had impeachment from day one, investigating of the president, the White House, people around him for alleged misconduct in various different ways, subverting the Constitution in various different ways. First of all, Jerry, it isn't that at all. It's not supposed to be an investigation of Trump, the Trump White House. It's supposed to be an investigation of Russian interference, even though the Mueller investigation was never properly authorized. But then even the illegal authorization got morphed into get Trump at any expense necessary. Countless people were inundated. Countless people were indicted for lying in the investigation, not for lying in collusion. They were brought up on charges from back in 2012. See Paul Manafort as to why he's in jail and being abused in solitary confinement, etc., trying to get him to flip. So no, Jerry Nadler, you just can't go on saying that this is an investigation for various different crimes, for various different reasons, quote, Jerry Nadler. You're being exposed. You're exposing yourself for the political hack partisan that you are.
Problem with that. This is an investigation of the White House and of the president and the people around him for alleged misconduct in various different ways and for subverting the Constitution in various different ways.
In order for this special prosecutor to be assigned, there has to be an allegation of a true crime. So it's focusing on Nadler's own words. It focused on the Trump White House and Trump and those around him in these nondescript, various different ways. Subverting the Constitution. In what way? Alleged misconduct. Alleged misconduct. Can you be more specific?
If you don't have enough evidence to charge someone with a crime, you shouldn't sully their name. However,
then Nadler goes on and says that we shouldn't sully somebody's name if he's been investigated but he hasn't been charged with anything. However, is what he says, quote, however, and the however leads to another red herring, another sophist argument, a non sequitur, talking about how because the president of the United States, any president of the United States, cannot be indicted as a sitting president, blah, 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 blah. He just starts rambling. And again, this is where Chris Wallace is part of the cabal on the left. The mainstream media, the establishment, to just let him go. He just lets Nadler, without any pushback whatsoever, continue on this non sequitur. Nothing is related to anything. Nadler's allowed to keep this narrative going with no pushback.
The Justice Department believes that as a matter of law, the president, no matter what the evidence, can never be indicted for anything simply because he is the president. If that is the case, then they can't hold him accountable, and the only institution that can hold a president accountable is Congress, and Congress therefore needs the evidence and the information.
And this is all part of the same run-on session from Nadler. He continues to talk about how we need more information. And where is Chris Wallace? Where's Chris Wallace in his role as the person that's interviewing, that's getting a real interview, to say, wait a minute, the premise of the investigation was to find Russian collusion within anybody, not just the Trump organization. Where was the investigation into the Hillary evidence? Put that on the side for now. You've got Nadler talking about this as an investigation of Trump and everybody around him for various different crimes. Now what they're saying is, well, we can't indict this guy anyhow, but we, the Congress, the Democratic-controlled House of Representatives, needs all of this information so that we can sully this man's reputation. He says that he can't be indicted, so somebody has to hold him accountable. Accountable for what, Jerry Nadler? Who's holding you accountable for this witch hunt? Donald J. Trump, the President of the United States, is correct. This is a witch hunt. And what you're doing here is, without any pushback from Chris Wallace, the supposed truth in media, Fox News, is despicable.
For the department to take the position that we're not going to give information because he's not indicted, like a normal person who's not indicted because of lack of evidence, is equivalent to a cover-up.
Just listen to this guy in his own words.
Once you say that a president cannot be indictable no matter what the evidence as a matter of law, to then follow the principle that you can't then comment on the evidence or publicize it is to convert that into a cover-up.
We didn't get you on the evidence. There was no evidence. You didn't commit a crime. But because we can't have all of the secret, for a reason, secret grand jury testimony of innocent people, we are going to sully your reputation because we want to get you out. This has been about a impeachment from the very beginning, from crazy Maxine Waters to Nadler, who has hated Trump since the 1990s when Trump was a real estate developer. And Nadler was a 300-pound piece of crap legislator trying to get donations. He has not liked Trump, the capitalist. And now he has a chance, being on the judiciary, the leader of the Judiciary Committee, to try to get him impeached by any means necessary. Nadler, as much as an idiot as Nadler is, Chris Wallace lets this guy just roam free. Nadler is such a doofus. He keeps thinking he's going to get interrupted, rushing through reading his script. You can watch his eyes. I'm going to zoom in on it, but look at his eyes. He keeps looking down at his note cards. Oh, yeah, and another thing. I need to talk about this. We know certain things. For those of you listening to this on a podcast and you can't see the video on YouTube, and for those of you that are listening to this after April of 2019, the timing of this is the Justice Department, under Attorney General Bill Barr, came out with a summary of the Mueller report after 22 months, declaring that there was no collusion, that there was no Russian collusion by the Trump administration, by Donald Trump or anybody in his family. And we've got Nadler, we've got Media Matters, we have all of the leftists coming out and saying ludicrous things about how just because they didn't find any evidence doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. They're throwing out all of these red herrings, all of these nonsense arguments, still claiming that Trump is a bad man. More will be revealed in the upcoming weeks and months, days. So check back, JimboJohnGalt.com. Find us on iTunes under Jimbo John Galt. And obviously, we have many different subpages at JimboJohnGalt.com. Come check us out and subscribe. Thank you.